Christensen. Good morning, delegates, and welcome to the 2024-2025 Junior Model United Nations Final Conference. My name is Michelle Wallace, and I will be serving as your Secretary General for today's final conference. I'm delighted to welcome you all to what promises to be one of the most rewarding experiences of your life. Your dedication to changing our world for the better by taking steps to solve the pressing issues of Sustainable Development Goal, or SDG, number 5 and SDG number 16 will serve you well in the future. 3 years ago, I was sitting in the front row of this very room, listening to the Secretary General address the cohort of students who had signed up for the World Affairs Council's Junior Model UN program in my 6th grade year. It was my first final conference because, yes, believe it or not, there was a time where I didn't have a whole lot of experience with Junior Model UN, and I had a lot of nervous energy. I had been preparing from January to May, just like all of you, and it seemed like the conference was the capstone of the 5 months of passionate discussions, research, and the solutions I had been compiling, and it was my chance to finally put them to practical use. The one thing I remember, more than anything else about that day, was that sitting there amidst the hundreds of outstanding students who had also worked so hard to come up with solutions for their respective topics, was that I desperately wanted to do well. So when it was time for delegate dismissal into the conference rooms, I did my best to channel my nervous energy into something productive. Every time I felt like there was something more to be said during debates, I raised my hand, no matter how scary it seemed at first, just so that I could have pride in my ability to participate. I made sure that my blockmates knew where I stood on the issues being discussed, and I kept an ear out for any good ideas that they brought up. I did my best to collaborate with the delegates around me so that I could improve my ability to connect with people after the conference. If I could go back in time to that day and tell myself 3 things about how that final conference would change my life, then I would say, firstly, that it helped me learn to put myself out there. I wouldn't have the amount of public speaking skill or experience that I have today without the addition of Junior Model UN conferences and the UN Summer Camp, which, by the way, is top-notch. The second thing that I took away from my first conference was that the point of Junior Model UN is to foster cultural awareness in each student who participates. Each time I attended a conference, I walked away with a better understanding of the world around me and more appreciation for the resources that I currently enjoy. If you're in the Building Peaceful Societies group, for example, the discussions you participate in today will allow you to appreciate that you don't have to go to bed worried about waking up in a war zone. I know my parents have had experiences like that firsthand. The final and incredibly vital lesson that this conference will teach you is what it means to practice diplomacy, although on a small scale. One step at a time, I was being equipped to make the world a better place for those who didn't have as much as I did. And learning that inspired me to try to make a difference in my school and the community that I live in. I hope that through your experiences today, whether you're new or you've been doing this for a while, each delegate here will realize that this conference provides a space to nurture your talents. I also hope that you will all be similarly inspired to acknowledge the opportunities you've been granted and to try to impact the lives of those around you who are in less fortunate situations. With that, let's move into the topics for today. The first topic that the World Affairs Council has laid out for today's conference is reducing gender inequality. Now, I'd like you all to close your eyes for a moment and imagine that you live in a world where, if you are female, the society you live in has dictated that from the day you are born, the terms of your life will forever be fundamentally unequal to those of your male counterparts. Now, open your eyes and look around you. Every country in this room is experiencing that reality, some to a greater degree than others. The UN Commission on the Status of Women reports that this inequality has led to far greater problems down the line, such as poverty, in which 380 million women and girls now live, and lack of a proper education. In terms of illiterate individuals, women make up an alarming 2/3 of that population. When debating and drafting your resolutions today, please keep in mind that the root cause of gender inequality is societal norms imposed on women, and one of the most pressing effects of those ideas has been the widening global gender pay gap. The second of today's topics is building peaceful and inclusive societies. As with gender inequality, the UN has noted that there is no country in the world that is completely on track when it comes to peacekeeping. That is why the United Nations peacekeeping forces have sent over 2 million individuals across the globe to create conflict-free conditions since the Department of Peacekeeping Operations was founded in 1928. For context, that's about the same amount of people as are living in Paris, France right now. Over 2 billion individuals worldwide are affected by war annually. According to the International Committee of the Red Cross, over 68.5 million of those people become internally displaced or refugees. And over 2/3 of that population are hosted in low-income countries that cannot support them. Upon obtaining refugee status, they often face social exclusion or difficulty finding housing and employment. Amidst your debates and resolution drafting today, please keep in mind that the root causes of world conflicts can vary situationally, but economic inequality and government power imbalances are two of the most prevalent. I'd like to share a couple tips before you go to your rooms. Tip number 1, it's okay to make mistakes. You should view them as a learning experience. If you stumble or you miss something, keep moving. Confidence is key when practicing diplomacy. Tip number 2, don't ever be afraid to share ideas. The more you participate, the easier it gets. Talking to your blogmates and delegates from different groups will make you more comfortable with making meaningful contributions. The delegates in the room who are more familiar with the process will help guide you. And number 3, take a deep breath. You are junior diplomats who have put an immense amount of work in. Now go out there and have fun practicing diplomacy. Thank you.